why the gold price is going vertical, why it's a good time to start a gold royalty company, and why we could be on the verge of a gold panic. This is what we're going to get into. We're here with Jeremy Gray, our favorite gold mining CEO. Jeremy, welcome to YWR.
Thanks, Eric. Great to be back, mate.
Now, Jeremy, you have had some super punchy gold price forecasts, at least since 2024. And it's really helped everyone, I think, because you've taken leadership on this, on where the gold market is going, and help people, give them some imagination that this is going to go a lot higher than you expect, and you need to be positioned in this space. You yourself have gone all in on this from the very darkest days of the bear market. I remember those. And so you're definitely walking the walk. But your latest, do you want to remind people what you said? You sent out an update at the end of November about where you thought things were going, and we posted it on YWR for everyone. Do you want to give us remind us what you were saying back then, just a month ago?
Yeah, I guess we strongly believe we're entering the parabolic move, and that's certainly what it seems to be at the moment. I know a lot of chartists went uber bearish in October and said gold would correct back to 3,700, and we said no, it's just not going to happen. It's the dynamics are such that we'll probably, I thought we'd hit 5,000 by Christmas, but I'm a bit early. I'll probably be a month early on that call, but I think we're definitely going to hit 5,500 by Chinese New Year. And I'm just trying to remember the date of that for the Chinese listeners. I think that's February the 19th. So we're heading to 5,500 near term, and then I think we're going to be 7,000 by next Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everyone, by the way. I hope you had a nice day with your families. So yeah, we're entering a very exciting phase now in the market, and it trades really well.
Jeremy, I think you were saying also that after so many years of bull market, everyone's perpetually waiting, skittish and waiting for the pullbacks. And you were actually no, that phase we've had, this is the part of the cycle where, the crypto guys saw it before in 2021, but this is where you actually get very strong moves to the upside.
Yeah, really strong moves I think are coming, and it's happening at the time obviously where Bitcoin and crypto are certainly starting to struggle a lot, and they've lost a lot of momentum. So yeah, this is really exciting times for the gold miners, and I suspect the gold miners will double again next year at least. And you've had some phenomenal performances out of a couple of funds I've been following. One was up 221% this year. A big fund, Schroders, was up 210%. So I think that's just the beginning of what's going to be a multi-year bull market in this space that's been ignored. Let's be honest, it's been ignored for the last 14 years.
Yes. So Jeremy, can we? I think we're going to go into this. That's a good setup for getting into Chancery Royalty. But first, do you want to give us an update on some of your other projects that we've been talking about during the year? I think there's been quite a few developments with Liva and maybe even with Gold Road.
Yeah, look, Liva and Gold Road are due a listing in February. Actually, Liva I thought was going to list this year, but it got snagged with the auditors and the timelines to get through the audits. But that's well on track for listing. John Williamson's, we handed the keys over to John 12 months ago, and he's doing a fantastic job. Gold Road in Arizona will be listing in Oslo in February, and Svein Harold who's our chairman, is leading the charge on that. Tucano Gold, who we've talked on Tucano with your listeners and your followers, that starts producing in end of February, and I think that will list in June. And Pilar Gold, we're going into production in the next week or two. It's been a slow build up there, but I don't think that will list until the second half of next year. So we've got 4 gold mines, and we bought them, as you know, very, very cheaply. It wasn't easy, and it was only really thanks to the 1,400 amazing plus investors who've supported us when gold wasn't 4,500, when it was 1,800, 1,900. And that's a very hard thing to convince people to write a check when the market looks like it just keeps going to go sideways for many years to come, which is what the consensus was when we bought them.
Yes. So, and with Liva, it was kind of a reverse takeover with Edgemont Minerals or Edgemont Gold. So it's basically just going to take over I guess, does it get the Edgemont ticker? I don't know how it works, but basically
really, it's just a listing vehicle. John and the team love the asset. We just had too much on our plate this time last year, and they've got day-to-day control of the business now. We're very happy shareholders. All of our Pilar shareholders were given free shares. I think they've just done a round at $1.50. We span it out at 50 cents. We did a round with you at 80 cents 6 months ago. And I suspect it will start trading around $2.50 to $3. And even at $3, it's ridiculously cheap. It's Europe's largest gold mill. I think there's 5 million ounces there up in central Finland, one of the best jurisdictions you'll get in anywhere in the world. And it's going to be a phenomenal success. Liver Gold's going to be a phenomenal success in the years ahead. And I think it'll be a mine that will run for the next 30 years at least.
So Jeremy, I can't help but notice you have a new hat on today. And it says Chancery Royalty. And this, tell us what you are working on and what you're up to. And what's this new hat about?
Yeah, look, this is probably I think it's a culmination of 7 very long, hard years of putting 4 gold mines together. We came from the royalty business. We actually funded most of what a company called K92, which is a very famous gold mine these days, market cap 5 billion. So we came from the royalty business, and 7 years ago, we left the royalty game and we went into gold mining, buying gold mines, running around looking for money, trying to get in production. And we just felt now's the time to step away from the day-to-day management of those mines and actually go back to what we know better. We're royalty guys, and we want to return to the industry. And we've rolled in 2 royalties from Pilar Gold and the silver royalty from Gold Road. But we also just recently acquired Liver Gold's 2.5% royalty also from a third-party seller. And that's given us a platform for 3 royalties, pretty much the same size on what they call gold equivalent ounces. Everyone talks about GEOs in this industry. I'm getting back up to speed myself. And that's the same size as, say, a group like Vox Royalty you might have heard of, or Metala Royalty that have got market caps of nearly $1 billion. Definitely Metala's well over $1 billion now. So, yeah, we're just really excited to be back in the royalty game. And we just also signed a fabulous transaction binding agreement back in your neck of the woods in Africa, because you obviously have a lot of experience in Africa with Kefi Gold and Copper, with a very exciting royalty and big mine in Ethiopia. And I think it might just be the best undeveloped gold mine in all of Africa. So, yeah, back in the royalty game, Eric, and we were excited to tell you and your readers about what we're doing.
Well, Jeremy, you, as you kind of said, and I remember those days, that was what you were, in the early days, you were helping another source of capital deploy money into mines. And you've also, so you were in that space, and then you were raising money for your individual projects during a difficult time. And I think you've come out of this going, and I think you've spoken to a lot of royalty companies, trying to convince them to invest in projects. And I mean, is it that you see a gap in the market for a new player?
Yeah, look, I think the royalty companies are called by that name, honestly, because I think the management think they are royalty. I've been dealing with them for 7 years, looking for money, and every royalty group kind of mucked us around, turned us down, changed the terms at the last minute. They're a very exclusive members club, and we're trying to introduce a much faster moving, fresher model, like a Costco of the supermarket industry, where we really work with our partners. We're coming from the gold mining industry, so we know all the pressures that they're under with funding and timelines and meeting payrolls. And we want to basically be one of the largest medium-sized royalty companies in the industry. The 2 big ones we look at are Versamet and Elemental royalties, and they're about 20,000 GEOs. We're currently 4,000 GEOs with our 3 royalties, Pilar, Gold Road, and Liver next year. But with the Kefi transaction, and maybe if we roll into Kano, we'll be actually bigger than both Elemental and Versamet, who've got Tether now chasing after them. Your readers might have seen that, but Tether's now all over the royalty game, and this could not be a better time for us to launch what we think is the fastest growing royalty company in the industry.
So Jeremy, is Chancery Royalty is doing a raise right now?
Yeah, so we're doing a raise for the funding of the KEFI royalty, which is the response since we launched it on Friday last week, just before Christmas, has been incredible. And it's basically valuing the group at just 0.2 times price to NAV, or a PE next year of around 4 or 5 times. Now, the royalty guys trade at 30 to 60 times price to earnings, and price to NAVs of 1 to 2, 2.5. So as you know, with us, we always price our transactions to give our shareholders multiple returns. And this is, that's why I think the response has been phenomenal this last few days.
So yeah, 0.2 of NAV, I think 4 times PE, with, I guess that's when the KEFI, is that assuming the KEFI transaction is a part of it?
Actually is a long-term royalty, but it's a huge royalty for us. It's a huge royalty, but they don't start producing until 2028.
Okay.
So 2026 numbers, Pilar's our biggest royalty, and in return, Pilar's going to be a 42% shareholder of Chancery. So it's very exciting for Pilar. Gold Road, we're just taking the silver, and the silver price, as you know, is rocketing much higher. And I think Gold Road's going to produce a lot of silver in 26. And Liver starts producing around March, April. John's doing a fantastic job with our general manager, Jim Jackson, there. And that's a mine that at the moment we're modeling, to be producing maybe 50,000 ounces. But I think over time it will grow to 120,000 ounces, and we get 2.5%. It's $0 an ounce. So the margins for Chancery at the moment, if everything goes to plan, and there's always, delays and things get a little bit, slow sometimes, but we'll be over 95% EBITDA margin and a 50% dividend payout, strict dividend payout ratio to our investors. So yeah, it's
what's the valuation now at this round price or pre-money valuation?
Pre-money for the 10 million, we're raising 10 million US, and we're well into it already, is $64 million US dollars. Pre-money market cap, yeah, with no debt. We have no debt. So I'll give an example. Vox is like 400 US, Metala's like 800 US, Versamet's 1.5 billion, I think, and Elemental's about the same. So we're 64 million and moving super fast. We're also, I think we're entering an era where you're going to see big royalties, like, big royalties, big transactions, and that's what we're all about. Moving fast, going binding quickly with our partners, and also not letting them take 6 months to close a transaction. What you find with royalty guys is they put you through 6 months of due diligence on assets that we all know are going to be phenomenally big successes. And historically, they have spent 99% due diligence in the project or the mine, and about 1% thinking about where the gold price will be. And I think it's not the other way around, but I think you should have at least a balance. And we think gold's going to 7,000. So transactions can be very profitable, I think, for Chancery Royalty.
And Jeremy, it's helped that you had this platform of gold mines to get this off the ground, right? You had, Liva, Pilar, Gold Road to kind of get some initial mass behind the business.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
Jeremy, go on.
In Wheaton Precious Metals, who did exactly the same. They span out their royalties from their mining group. And so we're very, we did the hard yards to put all the group together. And, going from mining to royalties, it's a little bit like going from the roughest, toughest school that you can imagine, where kids are walking around with a gun and a knife in the playground, to get the royalty game, which is going to basically the poshest private school in Switzerland, where you have a butler and a chef and, a finishing school, or maybe it's Eton, So it's very, for us, the transition is actually quite easy, but royalty guys can't do what we did and go from royalties to trying to run gold mines on a daily basis and all the stress that comes with that. And that's why we understand, and we're totally empathetic to our future clients who have to deal with this stuff, that we understand.
We've been there.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you mentioned something earlier, a massive development, and that is that the crypto company Tether has been buying gold royalty companies. And just for people's background, if they're not in the crypto space, Tether is famous because it launched the most widely used stable coin. So it's basically a US dollar on the blockchain and backed by bank deposits, US dollar treasuries. It's been one of the largest. I don't know exactly how much Tether owns, but Tether and Circle, which is the other stablecoin, together, they own $150 billion of US treasuries. They've become the 17th largest holder of US treasuries ahead of Saudi Arabia. So it's become a massive thing. The whole stablecoin ecosystem and how much and the asset, their holdings of US treasuries and bank deposits. And now their latest development is that they're getting into the gold business, and they're coming in size and in scope. And I find it highly interesting, all the different levels there. Jeremy, you see it in the royalty business. Haven't they been buying? I mean, what have they been doing in the royalty business?
Oh, well, they're going mad for buying stakes. They bought 32% stake in Elemental, 15% stake in Versamet. They're at 6, but I think they'll grow to much higher in Metala. There's Gold Royalty. They own 15% of Gold Royalty, and they're not even really a great story. Elemental had a call from Tether and said, we're interested in buying a stake. And the CEO, Fred, who's a really class guy, was expecting, the usual process of meeting and greeting and spending time doing the 6 months of the usual due diligence. The next day, he read in the newspaper they bought a big stake, and they moved super fast. They're also, I heard they're buying 3 tons of gold every week. 3 tons of gold, to put it in perspective, is 90,000 ounces a week, which is an insane amount. And apparently they're now the biggest central bank buyer of gold in the world, I think after China, because I think China's buying probably 10 tons a week or 15 tons, but they always report 1 ton, So they're also massive in the physical market and this whole tokenized gold thing. So we're not really needing Tether for our funding, but I wouldn't be surprised if they will give us a call, but we'd like to do it at a much higher valuation than the current round that we're offering now to our
much higher valuation than $60 million. Yeah. Jeremy, the other thing that I caught my eye. So yes, the fact they're also developing, my understanding is they've spent like $30 million developing their own vault system in Switzerland using Cold War nuclear bunkers, and they put in their own security systems. And so they've built a whole vaulting system outside of the usual UBS, outside the banking system. And you go, wow, these guys must be expecting a lot of demand for this token, and they are protecting themselves from problems in the banking system. They didn't just go and say, hey, like the GLD ETF, right? They didn't go, hey, HSBC, can we just have some gold in your vault? They are they're buying gold royalty companies. They're building their own vaults. They are basically anticipating a large holdings of gold, and that there actually will be difficulties in acquiring this gold. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's telling me. When you go downstream to buy gold royalty companies, you're anticipating that actually getting your hands on physical gold is going to be a defining strength in your offering. And that's the piece they're putting together. But Jeremy, and this is kind of why I don't usually have a huge imagination about this, but the way gold is moving right now and the way Tether is coming into this space, what has kind of caught my attention is that Tether is going to be removing 3 tons. Was it 3 tons a week or a month? I don't remember what it was. A week out of the banking system. So, look, if you're in the banking system, right, if, the gold is swapping around between the ETF and the COMEX, and I'm sure you can come up with receipts and IOUs, and if you don't have the gold, but it's over there, fine. And within the banking system, I'm sure that there's ways to manage that situation. But when Tether is pulling it out of the banking system completely, there have always been these kind of rumors or concerns that in the gold market that banks have been lending out spot, or like short the spot market and long the futures? And could there ever be a problem where they don't, they think they're going to be able to deliver gold through the futures market, the gold isn't there, and they're short, they're short the spot, the physical. And that's always kind of been a gold bull market dream, and it hasn't really happened. But this tether play is kind of creating the ingredients that it's gas on the fire, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's kicked off with China when they just stepped in the market 2 years ago. Then the likes of Tether and central banks, it's all part of the same trade, where 50 years of these games that were played by the bullion banks are now coming to an end. And you read in all sorts of stories why the silver market, the LBMA's run out of silver, and apparently they've got almost no gold, and they've been caught with their pants down. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, and that's why you're starting to see these parabolic moves that could get really exciting. Like, it could just get really exciting. And I think our $7,000 call by next Christmas could be quite conservative if what you're basically saying is true. Like, this is not going to just stop. Why wouldn't it be that Tether starts buying 5 tons a week? 5 tons a week is the size of our Tucano mine when it starts producing in February, but it'll take at least 6 months to get there in terms of production run rate. And there's just been no gold mines built for the last 12, 13 years. You and I have talked about this on every call we've ever done. No one's built any gold mines. And to try and start them now, it takes 3 to 4 years to get one built. So, yeah, I think it's all part of the same trade. And I think that's why the royalty game is going to become an extremely hot space. And it might become a little bit like it. Do you remember Michael Saylor and what was his company called?
Micro strategy, or strategy now. Yeah.
All the excitement about, this guy's owning all these Bitcoins, but royalty companies might become really, really hot. Like, they could become like a really hot space where you're suddenly trading on a 3 or 4 price to NAV.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, our timing to go back into the industry is perfect. And that's, I think, why our phone's just ringing hot over Christmas. Like, we got so many incoming calls even over Christmas break. So I just know we're on something really special. We've got and what defines us differently to a lot of the royalty guys is we're doing royalties on big mines that are life of mine. So that these mines like Pilar run for 30, 40 years, Liver 30 years, Gold Road the same. The Kefi is an amazing asset that could run for at least 15 or 20 years. So they're life of mine deals. They're not just running out in 3 years. A lot of royalty deals are like running for 3 to 4 years, and then they have to go and run around looking for new ones. So
and the price will be much higher. Yeah, you want to lock those in now.
Yeah, no, really, I think it's really exciting times for the royalty space, and also really exciting for all of our shareholders in Pilar, Liver, Tucano, and Gold Road. Their patience, support, they've stuck with us, is going to be paid off in spades in 2026. Very exciting times for our group. And but I want to, as we've always presented our latest idea to you and your subscribers, and we wanted to show you Chancery, Eric, over the Christmas break. We're just so excited about this one.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for your great views on the gold market. It's been super helpful, and thanks for the update on all the other mines, and telling us the bull case behind Chancery royalty. And we'll put a link for anyone if they want to learn more about it.
Thank you, Eric. Really appreciate everything you've done for us over the last couple of years, and Merry Happy New Year to all your subscribers. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Bye.